Like we're 6 weeks out from the season, right where we need to be, and we're getting that bitch this year.
Let's get into the Michael Porter Jr. thing, dude. Let's get into that. I want to talk about that. I'm on MPJ's side on this one, man. I'm sorry. I might take some heat for this, but I think if you take the McDonald's boys All-American squad, East or West, you put them against the Olympic team, I think they're smashing them, bro. I really do.
Brittany Griner said that she could beat prime DeMarcus Cousins in one-on-one, right? Come on. Boogie was getting 50.
NIL has changed everything. It's year to year. A lot of these players now, if you look at it, it's like a professional sport, obviously. They're honestly on like a year-to-year contract.
Challenge everyone to go back and watch Gronkowski highlights from like the, first 3 or 4 Super Bowls and what he was doing after the catch, the way he moved and stuff like that. I don't know what you do with him. To your point, do not trade him in the fucking conference. Do not trade him to a rival. Do not trade him to a team that could beat you for a playoff spot, right? You don't do that. So you trade him to the fucking Browns or something. Whatever. Who cares, right?
And then you pay, Bland, the cornerback, 4 years, $92 million today. It's like that you overpaid him for sure. Even though he has a bunch of interceptions, I mean, he's not. You're overpaying that guy, so you let Micah walk out the door.
Yo, welcome back to the Can't Teach Taste podcast with your boy Ghanem and Todd Tomlinson. What's good, my man?
It's good, man.
Shit, dude, just chilling, man. Happy Labor Day to everybody out there, man. Hopefully everybody had a good, relaxing weekend. Got to, kick it with some family and friends and stuff. I know I did, man. Excited to get back to it this week, though.
Yeah, get to it. It's crazy. Man, summer has flown by.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Lots going on, too.
Yeah, but fall, I don't know about you, is my favorite time of year. The weather out here in SoCal is beautiful. Start of football, NFL, college started this last Saturday, really. NFL starting up this week on Thursday. Basketball, is just a couple months away, end of October. So, man, I'm hyped. Fall's my shit, man. But, summer flew by.
Yeah, dude, I'm out here about to leave Big Bear, and I'm pretending there's people on the lake, but it's like 65 degrees. Got the fall gear on, man. I'm excited for it. Real quick, shout out to our listeners. Our episode 9 that just dropped last week. It hasn't even been out a week yet. It's done 1,900 views on YouTube. So shout out to everyone supporting us. I mean, obviously we're still trying to figure it out. We're getting our content right, getting our editing and everything right. But by far the most viewed episode. So I'm glad you guys are loving the content.
Yeah, crazy. Shout out to y'all, man. A lot to come.
Crazy. Hey, real quick, before we get into this today, I don't know if you saw, we didn't even talk about this, but I don't know if you saw yesterday, Jimmy and Draymond posted a video, and it was on like a Warriors page. And what happened, Jimmy posted it, and he said whatever Draymond says in the last slide. So you flip through the slide on Instagram, and it's like a video of Draymond. He's like tired. He's like, we're 6 weeks out from the season, right where we need to be, and we're getting that bitch this year.
Great. We about 6 weeks out, right where I need to be, baby. And we're getting that bitch this year.
And then it just cuts.
I know you love that shit. I know you love to hear that. If they're gonna do that, then you need Jimmy to be better than he was last year. Steph's gonna be ready. Draymond's gonna do what Draymond does. You need Jimmy to take that, to take another step, obviously, and be a little bit better. But I think, another off season, really the first off season, obviously incorporating into the offense out there. Man, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, they must be comfortable with that roster, man. Obviously, they were playing well last year. I think they were the third best team in the league. Obviously, it was a very small sample size post-trade deadline, and they haven't added anyone. The room,
Kuminga, that's it.
Well, the rumors are once Kuminga's figured out is Horford, Steph Curry, GP2. I think they're supposed to bring in once they figure it out. So we'll see, man. But anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. Where do you want to start, man? I mean, we could get right into Michael Porter Jr. We could jump into some of the NFL trades and extensions.
Let's get to the Michael Porter Jr. thing, dude. Let's get to that. I want to talk about that. So if the listeners don't know.
I don't know what happened, why Michael Porter Jr. decided that once he got traded to the Nets, that he could just say whatever he wanted, because he was never on, podcasts or any content, any social media, just saying what he wants. And now his take, obviously, I think is an appropriate take, but they were talking about if the McDonald's All-American boys high school team played against what they said was the All-Stars, and then they went into and said the Team USA women's team, what it would look like. One of the homies that he was with said, it would be like a 10-point game maybe, the boys would win, and he just starts dying laughing at it, man. What's your thoughts?
If the women's Olympic team played the McDonald's boys All-American, who would win?
The McDonald's boys, in my opinion.
By what?
Probably like 10. I don't think it would be a blowout. I think it would be.
Yo.
What did you think?
What they winning by, Mike?
Man, if the WNBA, you said an all-star team?
Yeah, the Olympic team, basically.
If the Olympic team played the McDonald's boys All-American high school players?
Yeah. What you would have did as a McDonald's All-American?
Brother, I'm not even going to hold you, bro. It's one of them things, bro, where you can't dance around it, bro. At the end of the day, like, in high school, when I was in high school, it was like grown men, bro. We were grown men pretty much. Like me, Trey Young, DeAndre Ayton, Gary Trent, PJ Washington. Like,
damn, now that's a crazy lineup.
If we play the WNBA All-Star team, I mean, that's a no disrespect, bro.
Wait, how much?
No disrespect, bro. I'm not even gonna say. Like,
I'm saying them out. You sucked your teeth at me saying 10. I said y'all was going to win.
You think it would be 10?
I think it could be close.
No disrespect. But I'm on MPJ's side on this one, man. I'm sorry. I might take some heat for this, but I think if you take the McDonald's boys All-American squad, East or West, and you put them against the Olympic team, I think they're smashing them, bro. I really do. And there's no disrespect. I guess if you look at the last year, right? You look at guys like AJ Devanza, Braden Burries, Mikal Brown, who is a beast and is nasty, Koa Pete. These are they're grown. They're way more athletic. They're so skilled. If you take any one of those guys and put them in the WNBA, they're instantly, a top player in the WNBA. They'd be the most athletic, the strongest, the quickest. There's no disrespect. The WNBA players are great players, but there just becomes it's a different level of physicality, of athleticism. And those boys they're skilled, more skilled. They are, and people don't want to hear it. People think that, it'd be an even playing field or that the women, they just wouldn't. And it's literally a situation of physical ability, right? If you look at anything, I was looking last night just, for some content. The world record in the 4x100 is held by the USA women's team. And that's the fastest women.
Nobody's going to like where you're taking this right now.
No, they're not going to want to hear this, right?
I like it, though.
The current women's 4x100 meter relay world record is 40.82 seconds set by the United States. Okay? The current high school boys 4x100 record is 38.92 seconds. And that's from a high school in Texas. That isn't even the fastest high schoolers coming together and forming one form. This is just a high school, right? So this isn't the fastest boys.
High school team.
A high school in Texas, right?
One team. Yeah.
You don't want to hear it. And I'm sorry you don't want to hear it, but you're going to hear it. No disrespect, but they beat them. They just would. And if you look at, I was watching the other day, like the LA Sparks, they'll bring in guys to scrimmage against. They're just like weekend warriors out there hanging, right? Because they're physically stronger. Maybe some of those guys aren't as skilled as they are, but I'm on MPJ's side, man. I'm sorry. And I love the WNBA and where it's headed. I enjoy watching it from time to time, especially, certain players. I love watching Caitlin Clark play and a couple others. I love Paige. I love watching them play. But I don't think it's a discussion. If people want to make it one, then set it up.
I mean, I don't think they want any part of that. First of all, they would never play in that game. They would just complain about it and say that that it's not fair or whatever. Just say that they would compete, right? Just like when Brittany Griner said that she could beat prime DeMarcus Cousins in 1-on-1, right? Come on, Boogie was getting 50, right? So
The
if you
least.
think, and then dude, it'd be. I mean, think about these players. You have multiple Duke, multiple UConn. You have all these. I mean, legitimate players that could go to the NBA. They could play in the G League. They could compete. They would be drafted early if they could. Right? You got the Boozer brothers, and you got all these kids that can just ball. Right?
They'd be in the NBA. To your point,
they could play in the NBA. So if you have all these kids that are not NBA players, but they'll be impact players and high level D1 basketball teams next year. So you're telling me that the all freshman team in the NCAA wouldn't beat the women's Team USA women's basketball team by 50? I mean, if they actually tried to play defense, lock down at half court all the way through, and didn't just like go up 30 and start lollygagging, right? If they were playing like a real game where they had to win by 50, they would win by way more than that. It's like when you take the team women's soccer, I think it was like 8 years ago, they played the Texas high school boys under 15 team. So the best 15 and under soccer players in high school. And these aren't even in the world, right? Because the best soccer players that are 15 and under are in Europe, and they're not in school anymore, right? They're in an academy training. They're not in school. So this is the best. These kids like probably go and they're accountants and shit now, right? They go to Stanford, play soccer, and then, they're investment bankers or something. They got smashed. I think they beat them 5-2, and 5-2 is like losing by 20 in basketball, right? 5-2 is not even close. It's so far. You're just getting smashed, right? So that's what would happen in this game. It would be bad. They'd be getting dunked on, step back threes. I mean, these girls wouldn't even be getting shots off, honestly. It would be hard. It'd be really hard to get shots off against these super athletic in their prime 18-year-old kids. You know what I mean? So Michael Porter Jr. is right. I don't know what got into him that made him just wild out and just say all the stuff that everyone thinks. I don't know if he's like, well, I'm not going to win. I'm not in Denver. I'm in Brooklyn, so I might as well work on my next career. I don't know what he's doing, but I love to see it.
I do too. He probably shouldn't say it. He probably shouldn't say it. You know what I'm saying? He's not wrong, but he probably shouldn't say it. People like Jeff Teague and, on that pod, he alludes to this kind of stuff quite a bit. He can say it. He's done. Michael Porter Jr., to your point, I don't know what the hell since he left Denver. He had that podcast and he kind of started to, say some things, but now he's just unhinged. It's I don't know. I love to see it though. But you're right. They're not going to win anything in Brooklyn, but I love the honesty.
Yeah, I love it. And speaking of which, man, I don't really know how this works, but speaking of the high school players going to college, got a couple buddies that are involved in this NIL thing. I don't really know how it works again, but they're buying chains for these players and they're buying cars and housing and stuff, which obviously is legal now. I just don't know what they get back in return. So I'm interested to see the evolution of the NIL game in the next 25 years, right? Because, maybe it makes sense to not go to the draft when you can for some of these guys because you can make, $20, $15 million or whatever in college. So I'm just interested to see how this goes. I don't know if you know anything about it.
I do. I mean, I've heard the same. I know people buying chains, whips, houses, everything for these players. The NIL has changed everything. It's year to year. A lot of these players now, if you look at it, it's like a professional sport. Obviously, they're honestly on like a year-to-year contract. If they play a year and then another school is going to offer them $1 million more, they're going to get more jewelry and a couple more cars. What are you going to do? It's a year-to-year thing. It's got to be hard. It's got to be a nightmare to recruit and to coach because every year you're recruiting your own players as well as trying to recruit like high school players, right? So I think that the idea is, buying these guys chains and whips and stuff to, have a, get a piece of obviously what they're going to get in the long run and make your money back and get tired of these players, So, yeah, man, it's interesting. It's changed everything in sports. I love to see some kind of different regulations around it just because I think the transfer portal and all that has gotten out of hand. It's gotten crazy. Like guys are transferring every year. I'd love to see people stay a little bit longer. And it can't even keep track of shit, right? Like I'll be watching a football game or a basketball game. I'll be like, oh, damn, I know he left said school and is here now. Like I have no idea. It's hard to keep up, right? So I'd love to see that, but hell, let the players get paid. They're bringing in so much money to the institutions and the colleges. They deserve to get a piece, but we got to figure out a way. I say we like I'm fucking a part of it. They got to find a way to regulate it a little bit better. Just forget the money and the whatever. Regulate in a way so players. I think the transfer portal to me is what's kind of gotten everything all out of whack. So I'm cool with everything else, but they need to fix that.
It is, man. One thing that I'm not as into college sports as I used to be, obviously, by my school, Pitt. I mean, they're not what they used to be. We were a perennial 1, 2, 3 seed in basketball, perennial top 25 team. And the way that the conferences have shaken up, it's so strange. Yeah. Pitt plays at Stanford this year, which still doesn't make any sense, right? Like, why is Stanford in the Atlantic Coast Conference? Whatever, right?
Yeah, so like SC's in the Big Ten. It's weird.
Yeah,
dude. Pac-12
doesn't make any sense. So I might actually go to it because it's not that far away, right? So, but anyway, it's interesting. One thing I do want to bring up when we talk about that is they went and released the first, quarter century all NFL, defense and offensive team. So I'm going to run through the list real quick. Tell me which ones you agree with or don't agree with. Tom Brady, right?
I mean, that's the easiest one. That's easy too. LT, baby, easy. Tomlinson. That, you know what I mean? That's enough said. The Tomlinson name and lineage.
Give me Fitz. Randy Moss.
Of course.
Fitz.
Easy.
Megatron.
Easy.
Here's one where I'm going to go Gronkowski over Tony Gonzalez, and they have Tony Gonzalez in here. I'm not mad at the Tony Gonzalez, but not only what Gronk did, on the field, how many chips he won, the fact that he came out of retirement, won one in Tampa Bay, like he was just unstoppable, man.
It was him. But Kelsey, I'd have to see the stats. Like, Kelsey's career has been pretty phenomenal. Obviously, he's still playing. But knee jerk when I think of tight ends, I think of Gronk. Definitely over Gonzalez to me. You look at Antonio Gates, he just didn't win like Gronk did. But I think Gronk's
go back. Challenge everyone to go back and watch Gronkowski highlights from like the, first 3 or 4 Super Bowls and what he was doing after the catch, the way he moved and stuff like that. And it's just, obviously towards the end he wasn't as mobile, but I mean he was throwing people to the ground, spinning off of them. Tons of yak and things like that. So you got Joe Thomas, Alan Faneca, Steeler great, Jason Kelsey in the middle, Zach Martin and Lane Johnson. No arguments here. On the defensive side of the ball, Aaron Donald, Kevin Williams, J.J. Watt, Julius Peppers on the line. I mean, that's devastating for any run game or any quarterback you could rush forward with those guys and call it. You got Ray Lewis, Von Miller, Bobby Wagner as your linebackers. Champ, Darrelle Revis, Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, in the secondary, right? What I'll say
Revis.
Real quick, shout out
Jet in there.
Shout out
got
Pitt.
A jet in the Jets, but we got a jet in there.
Pitt has the most, NCAA representation on this list with 3 players. Shout out Larry Fitzgerald, Aaron Donald, and Darrelle Revis Island. You know what I mean? Those guys, beasts. The only thing I would say outside of Gronkowski would possibly be putting T. Sizzle in there, maybe it's Bobby Wagner, I don't know, because he was just so prolific at getting after the quarterback and just a beast for so long. Good, big, strong body of work for so long. But obviously not really anyone to argue with on the defensive side. I just wanted to bring this up so we could talk about Pitt, who doesn't excel as a team ever. But individually, they excel, right? If you look at the roster of players they have, Mike Ditka, Tony Dorsett, LaShawn McCoy, Dion Lewis, these 3 guys, who am I missing? I'm missing more. You got Andy Lee, the punter, who was a Pro Bowl punter. I'm still going to call that out because they don't have punters on here. Andy Lee might be on that list. Shout out. Yeah. So, there's so many good players. Dan Marino.
I forgot about Marino.
Yeah, dude. Best quarterback. If he would have won a chip or 2 somehow, he didn't win in college either. Didn't win ever. I think Tony Dorsett won the national championship and he won the Heisman at the same time. I think it was in '77. But anyways, so Pitt has some of the greats. Like if you built a great team, all the way through like this, but from one school, they'd be up there with anyone. But just don't win anything. But anyways, great list. Super excited for the NFL. So let's hop into this. I got to give a shout out to my mom. She loves Terry McLaurin. She's so excited that he re-signed, and what I told her was way too much money, which she doesn't care. But 3 years, $96 million potential, $32 million a year to a wide receiver who's 31.
Terry McLaurin, who had been staging one of the NFL's most high-profile hold-ins, has agreed to terms on a 3-year deal worth up to $96 million. That is the contract extension. Gets a $30 million signing bonus and has the opportunity to earn more than any receiver over the age of 30. Okay. It has been a long road for McLaurin. I'd like to know the final details of this deal to see how close it actually came to DK Metcalf's $33 million. That is what he wanted. Didn't get to the 33, and I believe the base is going to be lower because 96 is the max. So my guess is it's closer to the $30 million mark than the 32.
31.
Essentially getting paid pretty much at the same level as Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb. Maybe they thought they were a McLaurin away, adding Debo, Jaden in his second year. So, we'll see how that goes. I don't know if I'm betting on that, but, shout out Terry McLaurin. That's a big-ass bag for a 31-year-old receiver who's not like a Julio Jones, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase type receiver. He's good, but he's not great. What are your thoughts on that?
More than anything, I think this was for Jaden Daniels. You know what I mean? I think they're looking at his development year 2. McLaurin was obviously his go-to receiver, security blanket. If they miss out on McLaurin, they're going into this year really without a wide receiver 1. That's not Debo. Debo is more of like a utility. You put him in the backfield, you put him in the slot. So I think more than anything, this was like, we got to do this for Jaden McDaniels. I know they didn't want to pay him that much money. Anytime you look at anything that a GM says in the NFL, you normally don't want to give a big bag, to guys in their, second or third contracts or on the other side of 30. So I know, they didn't want to spend that type of money because generally speaking, in history will tell you that receivers after the age of 30 start to get a pretty steep decline. Right. But I think more than anything, this is for Jaden Daniels. So I think it was important for them to do it. I know they probably didn't want to do it, but, Jaden Daniels just showed so much promise and could be one of the best, quarterbacks in the NFL. So they had to do it. If not, you'd be going to this year without a wide receiver 1. So that's a bag, though, man. Shout out to McLaurin. He held his ground. He got paid. So it'll be interesting to see, how they look this year with Debo. So, but yeah, I think that their hands were tied a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I guess you just figure it out. You pay him because you're not paying Jaden Daniels. And that's how you can win, right? You can win when your quarterback's not on that big deal, when you have the rookie deal quarterback. And so, maybe I'd be interested to see what trade offers, if any, they did get. Obviously, they probably got some, but there's no way it was a value. It wasn't what McLaurin could give you this year, even though he's not worth what you're paying him, right?
Exactly.
And then he's got so much chemistry with Daniels. Obviously, Debo just, doing what Debo does will take a little bit of heat off of him. It'll be helpful for them, man. I mean, it could be interesting in DC. Obviously, like, he's going to run the ball well. He's been throwing well. I mean, obviously it's a second year and sometimes there's a regression. I don't know if he may have regressed in certain parts of his game, but I think the Redskins are going to continue to be good, and I refuse to call them the Commanders. So it'll be interesting, man. He still should have a pretty big season, but 31 with that much guaranteed money. I mean, this is his last contract. So shout out Terry McLaurin. He looks like one of my mom's friends from when I was growing up. His name's DeWitt. And so my mom's always like, DeWitt with the tutty. Because I said the word tutty one time. So she always says tutty. I don't think she knows really what it means, but
shout out DeWitt, man. It's funny, DeWitt, man. Another thing too is after guys get a bag, you're 31, you just got a bag. I mean, we'll see how he comes out and plays. It's not like he's on a contract year now or anything. You got the money. So
he didn't play at all in preseason, so it should be interesting. I'd fade him the first couple weeks of the season in fantasy for sure. He's got to get in game shape. All right, another big thing that came out, big trade, maybe the biggest trade in a long time. Micah Parsons traded to the Green Bay Packers for Pro Bowl defensive tackle Kenny Clark, who's pushing 30, I think, and 2 first-round picks, which is 26 to 27. What are your thoughts there? And obviously, we can go through what Jerry Jones said, which is all bullshit anyways, but go ahead. Tell me your thoughts.
Kevin, this is a huge, mammoth-sized blockbuster trade that just went down within the last hour. The Dallas Cowboys are trading Micah Parsons, a 4-time Pro Bowl selection who's had over 12 sacks in each of his first 4 seasons, to the Green Bay Packers in exchange for 2 first-round draft picks and defensive tackle Kenny Clark. The deal has been made. Micah Parsons is being paid in Green Bay. Week 4 of the season, we have the Cowboys versus the Green Bay Packers.
I mean, Jerry Jones just can't get out of his own way. But, from the reports that we've heard is that, Jerry Jones was in Dubai. Micah Parsons was flying out to Dubai. This is, a couple months ago. Mike hits up Jerry's like, yo, I want to talk about my contract. Jerry's like, bet, come on, we'll talk. They have a good conversation. Mike is like, let me think about a couple more things. Jerry's like, yep, think about it, come back. They agree on terms. Jerry's like, perfect. Micah has everything he's looking for. They write it up, gives it to Micah. So everything seems to be good. They leave. Old school, like handshake deal. Jerry's old school. Word is bond, for Jerry. And then Jerry gets a call from Micah's agent saying, hey, I wasn't involved in this. Tear that shit up. Done. And Jerry's like, what are you talking about? Like, I talked to Micah, the player. It's his contract. We agreed on this. And the agent, Micah's agent, was like, no, I wasn't a part of this. Tear it up. We're starting from scratch. And in Jerry's mind, he doesn't do business like that, right? He's an old, Texan who handshake deal. He bought the Cowboys, the deal on a napkin type of shit. You know what I mean? So that's what he's used to. So after that, I think Jerry was like, fuck these guys. Like, we already came to terms. As long as your client's happy, that's all that matters. Obviously, the agent was salty because he wasn't a part of the initial discussions. So I think after that, you get stubbornness, you get ego, and I think both sides are kind of to blame. So it's just crazy that probably, if you look at it, in my estimation, I think Micah Parsons is the best defensive player in the league. You draft him, right? He's homegrown, and then he walks out the door. Not only does he walk out the door, but you send him to the Packers, who are almost like kind of rivals, and you play him this year, and you get 2 first-round picks, but you made a good team, a solid team, even better. So those two first-round picks aren't going to be shit, right? They're going to be in the mid to late 20s probably. Like, send Micah Parsons to, like, New Orleans, or something where you're going to get those picks and they're going to be worth more. And I got to imagine that they probably could have done better than that. I mean, the Jets got 2 first-round picks for Jamal Adams, just to give you context, right? So it's crazy. I feel kind of bad. I know some Dallas fans. I know it makes them sick, especially, right before the season. You don't have your best defensive player. Now their defense looks like ass. It wasn't good to begin with. Now it's not even, a question. They're not good at all. So Micah Parsons got the bag. He went to a team that can definitely compete in that division now. So, I mean, good for him, but man, like Jerry Jones, if you ask any Cowboy fan, I'm not a Cowboy fan, you ask any of them, like, his antics and the way he's running the team is just too old school, and it's starting to, fuck the team up. So those are my thoughts. I think both sides are probably to blame for how that went down, but now he's in Green Bay, which is crazy. What do you think?
Everyone always tells us that we don't disagree enough. On this thing, which is like, obviously in ESPN, they disagree on purpose, right? Because some of the takes that they give each other on First Take don't make sense, right? So we got to say what makes sense. I think I'm in the minority on this. And for a few reasons. One, here's the problem that I have. And I understand, forget Jerry Jones's handshake deal. I don't know how much, did they say where they agreed before? Right? Because he's making $47 million a year now. $47 million a year now, right? Dak Prescott makes 60, I think Jordan Love makes 55, right? So the salary cap's $279 million. If you're Jordan Love at 55, you're a third at minimum. I think third of the salary, more than like almost 35 to 40% of your cap is Jordan Love and Micah Parsons, right? Micah Parsons doesn't throw the ball. He doesn't catch the ball. Obviously, he's the best defensive player in football. I would agree. He was a 2021 first-round pick. So when I was real quick, I remember when the Raiders let Khalil Mack go and John Gruden wouldn't pay him. I agree. Like, you can't pay because it wasn't that much because it was a while back, but it was quarterback money when you don't have a quarterback, which obviously the Cowboys and the Packers do. But I don't agree with paying $47 million, right? That's literally like 16 or 17% of the salary cap out of 52 guys for one guy. That's just hard for me. Obviously, if it's your quarterback, it's different. So what I did is Jerry Jones said they were trying to, they want to stop the run, which is why they got a defensive tackle who's a Pro Bowler.
That's bullshit,
right? That's bullshit, dude. So I don't agree with that. Obviously, you've got to say something. You want to tell your fans, hey, we're helping out our defensive line, right? You need Micah Parsons, who's going to run down Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels, right? You know what I mean? They're not worried about. I mean, obviously, you want to stop Saquon, but I mean, I don't think you're stopping Saquon either way, so it probably doesn't matter. I did look at this though. because I look at this. I try to look at it non-emotionally and just try to look at it logically. So first of all, they have 26 and 27 first. They'll probably be bottom third first, to your point. You could still get impact players. You're probably not getting a Micah Parsons or a CeeDee Lamb or a Ezekiel Elliott, which are the three of the last, like, call it 9 or 10 years worth of picks for the Cowboys. So they have historically drafted well, right? And that's something to consider, but it doesn't make your team better now. You're paying Dak $60 million. I don't know what I would do. What I will say is you can look at a bunch of lists of salary cap dollars for this year. Depends on what you look at. There's one of the lists that I kept coming back to. The top 17 players getting paid in 2020, this upcoming season, are quarterbacks outside of Micah Parsons, who's 12th, right? So he's in the top 17. I don't know.
He's got to be somewhere.
He was 18. He was 18. Jamar Chase and Myles Garrett were 18, 19, and 20, I think, if I remember correctly. Right.
Fair.
So either way, right, you're paying him like he's a quarterback. So he has to put you over the top. Right. I don't think he obviously doesn't put the Cowboys over the top because Dak Prescott's won one playoff game in his career. Right. And I think it was his rookie year. And that's the year that, as an aside, if they would have let Tony Romo play that year when he came back, when Zeke was all world and you still had Dez Bryant, that was a shot at the Super Bowl for the Cowboys, but they played the young guy, which I didn't think made any sense because Tony Romo, was obviously Tony Romo at that time, didn't excel either, but he could at least read a defense. Dak Prescott was a rookie. But anyways, so he's not putting the Cowboys over the top, and I don't think he puts Green Bay over the top either. I think he makes them better, of course, but do you want to pay that? I don't know what the long-term implications, the way the salary caps work and things like that, but I don't know what you do with him. To your point, do not trade him in the fucking conference. Do not trade him to a rival. Do not trade him to a team that could beat you for a playoff spot, right? You don't do that. So you trade him to the fucking Browns or something, whatever. Who cares, right? You move, trade him to the Bengals, trade him wherever. Just get him into the AFC, so you don't got to see him. I don't disagree. As a fan, like if you're blind and you think the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl, then of course you're upset if you trade Micah Parsons. But if you don't believe the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl in the next few years, then what the fuck does it matter? You probably should have got more for him, and you probably should have set him somewhere else. But I'm in the minority. Like, you just can't pay a defensive end $47 million, man. It's not the NBA where two of your players can make up that much of your salary cap. I mean, it's 52 guys. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, if you look at it, like Max Crosby makes, I think, like 10 or 15 million less than him. And obviously Micah Parsons is better than Max Crosby. I love Max Crosby. But what can you get for 10 or 15 million? You could get a backup quarterback, and then you could get, maybe a veteran running back. There's a lot that you can get with that delta. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but nobody agreed with me. And all my friends, everyone thought I was stupid.
I see what you're saying, right? You can't overpay. The Cowboys' problem is I think they're going to have a pretty decently prolific offense this year. They got George Pickens, who's a beast. So it's going to free up CeeDee Lamb even more. Dak Prescott, for what he is, I mean, if he just gets ball to those guys, I think their offense is going to be pretty fucking good. Their defense fucking sucks. So now you're taking away your best defensive players. So you're not giving yourself really a chance or a shot at all. Now, I don't know the Kenny Clark thing, again, like he's old, he's way past his prime. I just think they probably could have done better. You know what I'm saying? I think they could have done better for Micah Parsons. And, Micah Parsons, I got to look up his age. I mean, he's young. You pay him now.
He's drafted in 2021. So he's young.
I mean, goddamn. And then you pay, Bland, the cornerback, 4 years, $92 million today. It's like that you overpaid him for sure. Even though he has a bunch of interceptions, I mean, you're overpaying that guy. So you let Micah walk out the door, and you overpay on a cornerback who, I mean, not saying he's a bad cornerback, but I think all the interceptions is a little fool's gold in regards to, what he really is.
Well, Micah Parsons creates those interceptions, man, because that's like the pressure creates those interceptions. Interceptions you're not going to get 8 interceptions a year. You're just not.
Correct. So now, you got to be able to rush the passer. If you can't rush the passer, you're fucked in the NFL. So we'll have to see how this plays out. It's a lot of money, but the best defensive player in the league is going to command a lot of money. So we'll see. We'll see who's right. But I think we can both agree that the Dallas Cowboys probably aren't going to be that good this year. And I'll be in MetLife on October 3rd, I think. Jets versus Dallas. So hopefully. I'm glad they traded his ass because we got him this year. So we'll see. We'll see.
They should have traded him to the Jets.
Yeah,
like trade him in the fucking Jets, dude. Like don't trade him in your conference to a playoff team.
To the NFC.
Right?
Stupid.
You know what this does though? The impact for fantasies twofold. One, it upgrades every player on the Dallas offense that you have. What else does it do? It upgrades Josh Jacobs to me, right? Because the defense is going to be better. The games are going to be a little closer. Potentially, you're going to run the ball more. Josh Jacobs is already a bell cow, you know, outside of the one season in I think it was Oakland at the time, got hurt. He's had, 1,000 yards every other time. He's a beast, right? He catches the ball. He had a great year last year. I mean, that makes Josh Jacobs better. Go out and get Josh Jacobs right now. If you were thinking about it, definitely do it. That helps. And Dak Prescott, I mean, he's going to be throwing the ball the whole game. Their defense sucks. CeeDee Lamb obviously is off the charts. George Pickens, to your point.
Get those boys, bro. They're going to be throwing the ball.
I got Javonte Williams. I don't feel confident about any of these running backs, but there's going to be a lot of checkdowns on third down at 18. So it's an upgrade to the Cowboys offense. So, they're going to score a lot of points.
Poor Cowboys fans.
To be seen. Yeah,
they got Brian Schottenheimer too as their fucking head coach. I know about Schottenheimer. He was the Jets offensive coordinator for a long ass time. Maybe he'll be a good coach, man. Wouldn't have been my pick, but we'll see. You got Schottenheimer, who I know was sick, right? A week before the start of his first NFL game as a head coach ever, he loses his best defensive player. So I know the guy's like, well, what is happening? But
yeah, and the thing is too, for the Cowboys, they wouldn't have paid $47 million, whatever the hell Jerry and him agreed to without the agent, which I fucking hate agents anyways. And that goes. I mean, if anyone that's listened to our stuff about music, all they do is extract value from the people that are actually talented. Agents, the same way, man. Like maybe he would have got a little bit less in Dallas. Maybe he wanted to stay in Dallas. Shit, maybe he hated Dallas. I don't know, but in most sports, the contracts are defined by the tenure, right? And things like that. So what do you need? If you're Steph Curry, what do you need an agent for? If you're this dude, you got $47 million. I don't need my agent no more. Pick rocks, right? Because I'm getting $40 million every time. So, but anyways, I'm interested to see how it goes. Obviously, if Green Bay makes a deep playoff run, Jordan Love's healthy, everything goes well, then it looks like it's a successful trade. But shit, if Green Bay gets knocked out in the first round or something like that, did Dallas do the right thing? Who knows, right? If Dallas gets knocked out in the first round like they do every year, what's the difference? So, here let's jump into a little bit more NFL. Saw something on ESPN where it was one of their fantasy writers. Don't be surprised if takes for this year. So we're going to run through them. You tell me what you think. Derek, don't be surprised if Derrick Henry rushes for 2,000 yards at the age of 31.
He's not running for 2,000 yards. I don't think so. I think there's any chance. I mean, he had a resurgence last year. I'm not going to lie. Like, this is pretty funny. Like, going over to the Ravens, he had a down year the year before with the Titans. He looked like he was getting older. He's big. He was looking slow. So I think my cousin had drafted him in the first round last year, and we were clowning him because I thought he was, way past his prime. I mean, with Lamar Jackson, some of that RPO, he was a beast. But at 31, I just don't see it happening. What do you think?
I mean, he was about 80 yards shy of it last year, which was a great year for him. He's 31. I mean, Baltimore is tough. If I'm Baltimore and I'm trying to make a deep run, I'm gonna do what Detroit did with Jahmyr Gibbs last year. Even though David Montgomery wasn't nearly as good, we're gonna split the carries anyways. You can't win. You're not going to go deep in the playoffs with a run focused offense, which is what they have. Whether it's him or Lamar Jackson, you need to kind of give him a little bit of a light and load. So I'm going to say 1,800, 1,750 yards tops.
Yep. I'm with you there.
Okay. Dope. Don't be surprised if Saquon is not a top 5 fantasy back.
Man, history will tell you that, people that, first of all, he's on the cover of Madden, which always, will fuck you up every time. But again, history will show that someone coming off the type of year that Saquon had will, I think, naturally have a down year. I wouldn't say a down year. He'll have a great year, but maybe not the type of year that he had. I think if you look at Bijan, you look at Gibbs, some of those guys, I think they're going to be the top 2 running backs this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if he finished like 6th or 7th. You got some pretty good running backs that are going to have some big years, but I think he's still going to get the ball out. I think Philadelphia still wants to run the ball first. So I still think, gun to head that he's going to finish as a top 5 running back, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't.
Yeah, I agree, man. Philly never throws the ball. I actually had Devontae Smith and AJ Brown last year. Ended up in a trade getting Devontae, and I don't want any part of either of those guys. Even though AJ Brown, they say he's a top 5 receiver, they just don't throw the ball enough. So maybe that changes. Maybe like in Saquon too. Also, like we don't really know what the game plan was because Saquon broke so many like 70-yard touchdown runs, right? And that changes your game plan if you're up 14-0 like that, right? So I mean, I think assuming health, like of course he'll probably be. I mean, obviously Jalen Hurts takes a lot of his touchdowns, so he still has that upside. What if for some reason he doesn't get tackled at the 1, right? I mean, how many tush-push touchdowns did he have? So,
yeah,
I mean, I would say I still like Saquon, but I don't think he's number 1, to your point. And it just depends. If the Eagles actually throw the ball and use one of the top 5 receiving corps in football, then he won't be. But you also don't want him to be. In the playoffs, sure, when it's cold, right? Yeah, let Saquon run the ball, but I don't want Saquon to be a top 5 back. I don't want him to have those carries. And plus a lot of these games you don't need them anyway. So, I mean, I hope for Eagles fans, which again, everyone knows, I hope the Eagles never win another game ever in the history of their franchise. But I mean, if I'm the Eagles, I don't want him to be a top 5 fantasy back. So I'll go with the ESPN guy and say that don't be surprised if he doesn't.
Yeah, and I think to your point, you made a good one. I think the tush-push takes away so many goal line touchdowns for Saquon. If they didn't run that so effectively and so often, I mean, he'd have, I don't know, 6, 7 more touchdowns, a year if that didn't come into play. So because of that too, I think that, I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay. Moving on. It says, don't be surprised if Deebo Samuel is a bust for the Washington Redskins.
Sorry, moms, but I wouldn't be surprised. First of all, he has to get integrated. I think, he's a little older. I don't know how old Debo is, but I think he's way past his prime, quite honestly. I'll have to see how he integrates. They'll probably be creative. So I don't know what constitutes a bust. I don't know where he's being drafted in fantasy. So I guess that matters, right? If you draft him late, then it's not a bust. But I think some people are going to reach for Debo. I think he's just a name. Obviously had a down year last year. Got to stay healthy. But I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't what people are expecting him to be in Washington.
Yeah, man. I think that if the Redskins are actually going to challenge the Eagles, he needs to be not a bust.
Yeah,
they need to get him incorporated. They need to use him, sort of how like Andy Reid used to use Shady or kind of running those inside pitches, getting him the ball out in space, things like that. I think he's 29 or maybe 30. And I feel like his contract was like $20 million a year that they inherited from the Niners. I think they restructured a little bit, if I remember correctly. But I mean, I don't want Debo to be a bust if I'm the Redskins, right? Because McLaurin is where he is. You got your tight ends. Obviously you feel confident in your young trio of backs that you have. You don't really have a bell cow for sure. So he might be that guy. Like he should get 10 carries a game and he should have how many targets? 7, right? So you want him to have 15 to 20 touches a game, I think. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he is a bust because I think a lot of the shit that the Redskins did towards the end of the season that made them look good were a lot of like Jaden Daniels late game heroics, which, maybe those regress out and they don't need them. But if they need those again, they won't be as good. I mean, there should be a regression theoretically. I don't know. I'm gonna say, and I don't know what a bust even is for this guy, right? He's a bust if he's not getting the second most touches. Take Jaden Daniels out of it with his carries or whatever. So if he's not the second most touch guy, right, it has to, or targeted guy if you include his targets, right? He should have more than McLaurin because of the role that he plays. Maybe not more than a running back. I think if he's not easily in the top 3, then he's a bust. That's just my thoughts.
How many yards total? You know what I mean? Total. Are you looking at maybe if he has 1,200 yards this year? That's pretty good, right? Receiving and rushing. I'm sure they'll put him in some.
Shit, he might carry the ball 15 times a game. We don't know what they're going to do.
You know what I mean?
We haven't seen it yet.
If he has 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns or something like that, I think that's a solid year. Obviously for him. At this point, they're going to spread the ball out a lot, so. I think they'd live and obviously be more than happy.
I say he needs 8 touchdowns, right? Not every other game, but a little less than every other game, right? The next one was, don't be surprised if Christian McCaffrey lets you down again. And I'm going to say I would never draft that dude again, even though obviously, like, if healthy, he'll be RB1.
You can never be surprised. You can never. My man can't stay healthy. I love C-Mac. I mean, he's just a beast, an amazing talent. The dude can't stay healthy. I would, for fantasy folks who, I mean, I'm sure by the time this comes out, everybody's already drafted their players, but try to trade them if you have them. I fucking say, you can't trust them just to stay healthy. When healthy in that offense with Shanahan, they use him in a lot of unique ways, and he's going to be great. But obviously, you're only as good as your health, and he's going to miss games this year. There's no chance that he plays 17 games. You all know that. So, I mean, I think if he plays, 12 games, you're happy. So we'll see. And they got a couple, they got Brian Robinson Jr. They got that rookie, Guerrero, I think his name is, who they like a lot. So they got, a stable of running backs now that they're going to use, maybe to try to preserve him even. So even if he is healthy, they're going to do running back by committee to try to preserve him and keep him healthy throughout the rest of the year. So I don't think you're going to see the amount of touches, even when he is playing, that you're used to seeing out of Christian McCaffrey. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't think the Niners are a threat to really do anything, because I don't like Brock Purdy at all. But I think if you want to be a threat, and you want your team, you think your team has, the chance of going deep into the playoffs, you don't want him to carry the ball every time. You want him to be healthy, I think. But he's one of those guys, though, man, where he's not going to miss 3 games. He's going to miss 10, or he's going to stay healthy. You know what I mean? His injuries are almost always very serious, right? He's missing long, extended periods of time. So if you could figure out a way for him to be healthy at playoff time for fantasy and for the Niners, then you're in a good spot. But, I mean, I'm not betting on him. Next one, Tyreek Hill is a top 3 wide receiver. I'm going to say, don't be surprised if he's the top 3.
For real?
I'm fading Tyreek.
He's not going to be a
Jalen Waddle is going to. No. I think Jalen Waddle is going to have a better year than him on the Dolphins by itself. No
chance that Tyreek Hill finishes as a top 3 wide receiver. No fucking chance he finishes as a top 5 wide receiver. I'm calling it right. There's no way.
No,
there's no way. Again, someone else that's getting older. They're sputtering a little bit out there in Miami. I don't love Tua. Not just because he's in the AFC.
I never liked Tua. Even when he came out of Alabama and won that championship, he looked like shit. I just don't like Tua.
And he can't stay healthy, right? Obviously, but I don't love him. Tyreek Hill, for all intents and purposes, isn't happy there. There's been turmoil. I think McDaniel's on the hot seat. I think Miami's just like going nowhere, and they're in a weird spot. So I think he's still Tyreek. He'll still do some amazing things and have some wow games and some wow moments. But he's not finishing as a top 5 or 7 receiver this year, I don't think. So no chance. No chance.
Go out and trade for Jalen Waddle now. That's all I'm going to say about that. So that answers the Tyreek Hill question. I mean, I don't even think we need to do this. It says Chase Brown puts up RB1 numbers. Chase Brown's going to ball out this year.
He's a beast. He's going to be great. That offense is going to be sick. The only issue is that their defense is so fucking bad that they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. They are, but I think if they use Chase Brown in the passing game, I would take Chase Brown. They're going to use him as a Swiss Army knife and try to find a lot of creative ways to use him. I love his upside for this year. My only worry is that Joe Burrow's going to have to throw the ball 40 times a game just to keep him in it, because their defense is going to get slashed. But yeah, Chase Brown, I think he's going to have a big year for them. I love him. So,
Yeah, Chase Brown will finish an RB. If you can get him, he'll finish as an RB1. He was one of my targets. Didn't get him. He's going to cook. Everything in Cincinnati is going to cook as long as Joe Burrow is healthy. Their defense is so bad that they're going to need to score 30 a game, and they can't. So it'll be a fun one. CJ Stroud over 4,500 passing yards. Don't be surprised if. I mean, I hope so. I'd say. Go ahead.
No, that's tough, man. He had a great rookie year. He had a down year last year, but I think that's because, Nico was really his only, the only person he had to throw the ball to. So they got him some help at wide receiver. Joe Mixon is still a huge question mark. So being able to run the ball matters, because he can run the ball, opens up the passing game, obviously. So, Joe Mixon in the running game is kind of a question mark, but I do think he has more weapons now. At his disposal offensively. So we'll see. I think you say he had 3,800 last year?
37 and change.
37 and change. I think he's going to go, well over 400. I'm going to say he's below that, though, this year. I do.
I'd set his over under at 4,250.
Yeah.
4,300.
Right.
I hope Nico ends up with a third of his receiving yards. I think CJ's going to ball out. I don't know how good Houston will end up being, but I think their offense is going to cook. So, I'm going to say below 4,500 yards, but I guess I wouldn't be surprised if they did have 4,500 yards. I wouldn't be surprised. So I guess that's the point. Don't be surprised if Trey McBride has 10 touchdowns. So more than one a game, more than one. 60% of the games he scores touchdown. What do you think, man? I think he's got a shot. I mean, he had 4 last year. I think he'll have over 8. So I think 10's in the realm of possibility. But I don't know. Kyler Murray bugs me. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Kyler Murray's the determining factor here, right? I think it's a couple of things. One, is Marvin Harrison Jr. going to take that step forward? He was disappointing last year for being the number 1 receiver taken. Obviously, he wasn't what people were hoping for last year. Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. were much better. If he takes a step forward, obviously it's going to take away some targets and opportunities for McBride. McBride's a security blanket for Kyler Murray. So yeah, I don't love Kyler Murray. I'm going to say 8 as a tie. And I don't know how good they're going to be. I don't think they're going to run the balls effectively. I'm going to say I'll be surprised. I think he's the second best tight end in the league, in my opinion. But I'd be surprised if he got over 10 touchdowns. Sounds like you won't be.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
The last one I'm going to leave to you because it says, "Don't be surprised if Justin Fields leads the Jets in rushing."
From a Jet fan, I'll be surprised. I think they're going to run the ball a lot. There'll be a lot of RPOs. Justin Fields is going to. I think he's going to lead. He has a good chance of leading the league in rushing from the quarterback position. I think he can run for more yards than Allen and Lamar, just because he's not as good a passer as them. So they're gonna, he's gonna get more opportunities to run the ball. But I think they have 2 solid running backs in Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. I think they're gonna utilize them a lot. This is gonna shock some people. I think that Braylon Allen might lead the Jets in rushing this year. And I think that at the trade deadline, they might look to move Breece. That's why I say that. I think if Breece plays the whole season with the Jets, I think he'll lead the team in rushing. I think it's going to be close, though, if he plays the whole year between him and Braylon. I think the load split is going to be like 55-45. I think Braylon's going to get a lot of touches. Braylon looked better to me in the preseason. I think he's going to get an opportunity. And if they see an opportunity at the deadline to trade Breece, I think they will. But I do think that one of the running backs is going to lead the Jets in scoring. So I will be surprised if it's Justin Fields. If Justin Fields leads our team in scoring, we are fucked. So let's hope he does. Let's hope he doesn't. But I think he will lead all quarterbacks in rushing.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna leave that one to you. I will say, if your quarterback leads, I don't know. The only good thing about running the ball is it speeds the game up, which is good for bad teams, Raiders included. So if they're able to maintain some level of time of possession running the ball, that'll help everything out. So interested to see what happens. Obviously, we have week 1, looming around the corner. I'm super excited. Let's go. Yeah, I'm excited for Ravens Bills, man. I'm excited for Ravens Bills. I like watching the Bills anytime I can. I'm so excited, man.
Hey, by the way, I was talking to Dr. H. Yeah, I don't know, but one of our good friends, 2 of our good friends are Bills fans. And I was just telling them that I felt the shift lately of you becoming a Bills fan, which is some bullshit. It's some bullshit. I feel like you're a pseudo Bills fan. I don't know how that happened. You're letting those 2 boys get in your ear. You know what I mean? And I feel like our friendship is about to be fractured if you become a Bills fan, right? Yeah, so I feel it. Dude, you tell me. Are they like your second favorite team? I know you're a Raiders fan, bro, but I feel this weird. Yeah, I don't like it. I
think it's not a popular opinion in sports, but when the Raiders, obviously, I tried to not be a Raiders fan the last couple of years. I just try. I just don't want to watch. I don't if your team, right? It's been 25 years since you've been a functional organization, essentially, outside of the 1 year where Derek Carr got hurt on Christmas Day. That's the only time they made the playoffs. Like, if they're trying, if you're that dysfunctional, why should anyone care? Like, you're not. If you were any other business that you were that poor, you'd be closed. You'd be out of business. Everyone's fired. The owner's bankrupt. But the NFL is what it is, so you can't be, right? So the Raiders have been horrible for 25 years, ever since Rich Gannon left, right? They've been bad. So people, like, even in Big Bear, I'm in Big Bear every day, everywhere. Every time I go outside, I see a Raiders shirt. And I'm just like, why are you repping a business where the owner doesn't care? Maybe Tom Brady cares. Mark Davis doesn't give a shit. Most of the players haven't given a fuck at all in the last 25 years. The Raiders have been a historical team, like your Warren Sapp or whoever, to be 32 and go get a bag. Whatever, who cares what happens? I'm going to go get one more bag because the Raiders will give it to me. So to answer your question, man, I'm not a Bills fan. I love Josh Allen. So I like watching him. And the Raiders have no chance to win. They're going to win 7 games at most, right? I saw something that predicted them at 9-8. That's the worst record a team could have in the NFL, unless you have a rookie quarterback starting the whole year. That's the worst record you can have. You know why? Because you're going to keep what you have because you feel good enough about it, but you're never going to get a real quarterback, right? You need to fucking win 1 or 0 games to get a real quarterback. So I hate the Raiders. You can't be a Raiders fan after 25 years and still care about them. They don't care about you. They're not doing anything to be functional. They don't do anything that makes sense. That league should force Mark Davis to sell the team. Instead, he's building a $25 million house or whatever I saw, right? Because the team's so valuable because they moved to Vegas, not because of anything he did. You know what I mean? The whole thing fucking pisses me off. So I'd love a reason to root for almost anyone. I actually wanted to switch to the Steelers because Kenny Pickett was their starting quarterback and he went to Pitt. I had all these,
forgot about Kenny Pickett.
Reasons, right? So it's kind of ironic because I wanted to switch to the Steelers because Kenny Pickett was their starting quarterback. And at that time, it was probably for the foreseeable future. Obviously, he went to Pitt. I had all these other reasons to like other teams. Couldn't actually bring myself to do it. Now in a full circle experiment, the Raiders backup quarterback who's trash, who started, essentially all of last year, broke his wrist, I think, in the preseason. So now Kenny Pickett's the backup. They traded a 5th-round pick for him, which is crazy because, like, he was the 6th quarterback on their depth chart or whatever, right? I mean, I think if they had to take him or Shadur Sanders, they keep him, but Shadur Sanders is a rookie, so you keep the rookie, right? Who has more upside potentially, but Anyway, so fuck the Raiders. They'll never be good unless they win 3 games, which they don't do because they always get a Geno Smith or they get whoever they can get just to win just enough games, right? Geno Smith, the best quarterback we've arguably had in 25 years. And that's how you get to 7, 8, or 9 wins, which is not what you want. You don't want Kirk Cousins. You don't want Alex Smith. You don't want any of these fucking people. You want some dude in the top part of the first round that at least you got a chance at him being a star because none of these guys are.
Well, buddy, anyway, I feel your
I'm
pain.
Fucking stop now. That shit pisses me the fuck off.
As a Jet fan, no one understands your pain more than me, my brother. So
well, maybe Justin Fields is the attempt to win 2 games to get Arch Manning. I don't know.
Maybe.
Right? Maybe he is. Geno Smith is not the attempt, though. Geno Smith is not the attempt. I'd rather have Justin Fields because at least we're going to
stay relevant. And we can get into it next pod, but Manning didn't look great on Saturday, so that's for next week. We'll see how he bounces back.
Still taking Arch Manning over the 15 to 30 quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm taking Arch Manning over him right now.
He's more upside.
I just am.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough.
All right, y'all. Well, thanks for tuning in to this one. Hopefully we can get some looks here. We got the NFL started, man. We'll see you guys soon. We're out.
Can't teach taste. Can't teach it.
Bruce. Can't teach it. And the Raiders suck. See you guys next time.
So do the Jets.